back to the podcast. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, but I still want to share it and it'll be a great one. So hopefully this will be helpful. So the episode today that I have teed up for you is the mental models that I'm embracing to improve my life. And I only have a few because it's only a few I could really think of and that I'm really trying to apply right now. I can make this huge long list, but I think these few are the ones that really are the things that are going to move the needle in terms of life quality. And I think that it's something that would be useful for others to embrace as well. So yeah, that's why I'm going to share it. And so yeah, we'll just start with the first one, and that is to enter the pain cave willingly and to slay the dragon. So let me preface this with a story that I think will give a little bit of context. So last Saturday, which was December 14th, I think, yeah, I had a track meet with my track team, and we went all the way. We drove like 4 hours for it, went to this really nice facility, and we had a track meet. So I'm a distance athlete. I ran the 800 and the 1600 in those meets. It was a good time, like warming up for those things is fun. The energy is hype. Whenever you start to toe the line on those races, it's really exciting. And just watching the other races, because even though I felt like I ran relatively fast, the other heats, because there was probably like 4 or 5 heats for each race that I was in personally, and I was put in the slower heats myself, which was kind of crazy. Whenever you looked at the faster heats, they were running like 20-30 seconds faster. It was nuts. But yeah, I get to my first race, the 800-meter run, and it starts off as a pretty good race. I run, so it's an indoor track, so it's 200 meters, right? The first lap, it goes well. I found my position. I was in like second or third of my heat at that point. We keep going. Second lap, I'm in first, I believe. Or no, I'm still in second on my second lap. I get into first on the third lap. And I managed to hold that position for the whole third lap. And this is where the pain starts kicking in, right? It's not terrible, and I think I can push through it. And so I try my best. I maintain my pace, at least, from the third to the last lap. Unfortunately, though, I didn't kick hard enough. Even though I think I did have that extra gear in me, it just, like, my legs were really burning at this point, and I was in the pain cave. I was going into it, but I didn't really fully embrace it, if that makes sense. And so I got passed on the backstretch from the final lap, and then I got passed again on the final, was it 50 meters? The final straightaway, I get passed again. So I end the race in third position, which honestly isn't too bad considering a lot of my previous races. I don't think I've gotten top position ever. I've gotten third, I think, in the mile whenever I was a sophomore, but yeah, and that was and funny enough, that was also because I didn't enter into the pain cave and I got a pretty bad time that race. That's funny. But I ended that race having entered the pain cave a little bit, but not to my fullest capacity, with a PR. My previous PR for the 800 was a 217, at least in the open. My 800, my 4x800 meter split was a 217 flat, I think. And my best open time was a 217.5. So yeah, basically 217. Ended that race with a 216 on an indoor track, which is curved, by the way. And apparently with the more curves and like the incline, you'll generally see slower times on the indoor track, which is pretty cool. Hopefully that means I'll run faster on an open track. But yeah, ended that race with a PR, having entered the pain cave a little bit. Okay, my legs were pretty cooked after that, I'll be honest, and my mind was not in the right place for the mile. And I have probably two hours or so before the mile starts and I have to run again. And so I do my cool down laps, and my dad gets a lunch. I had like a light breakfast beforehand. I eat probably a bit too much before my second race, and I don't warm up enough. I just wasn't in the right mental space, and I didn't get into the right groove. My legs felt weird. My Achilles was hurting. I'm kind of nursing a Achilles injury right now, and it's been like it's minor. It's kind of like a light strain, but it's something that I don't want to aggravate further, if that makes sense. And so I was really feeling uncertain about my Achilles, about my legs, my cardio. I just wasn't sure. I was very unsure. And it was interesting because leading up into the 800 meter, I had this completely different mindset of like, I'm going to kill these kids, because I had seen some of the times for my heat. There was a lot of untimed people, but I saw a lot of the times for my heat, and I knew I was going to be one of the fastest ones in that heat, top 3, right? And so I was like, dude, I'm going to destroy this race. And that's what got me into first position in the third lap. I was like, I'm going to push this. It's just I didn't hold that all the way. But we get to the mile. I do a mediocre warm up at best, and I'm feeling really unsure as I toe that line. We start the race, and I'm up with the front pack for a good 2 to 3 laps out of the 8 that we have to run, right? But on that third lap, I just start, like, these thoughts start coming into my head. The pain starts coming into my legs, and all of this negativity starts leaching into my body and my mind, and I start fading. And I start, because I'm at the back of the pack, and I start fading behind. I get these thoughts of my leg hurts. Oh, I'm too tired. I can't do this. Oh no, like crap. Like, dude, this sucks. Those sorts of thoughts, like, oh, maybe I should slow down. Maybe I should just try and keep an even pace. I don't need to keep up with these guys. Like, thoughts like that came into my brain, and my body just slowed down. Like, but the weird thing is, like, I was able to keep up with those guys. Like, I was. It's just my mind stopped that. I was starting to enter into the pain cave. I had 5 more laps to go, okay, which isn't that bad. I'll be honest. That's like 800 meters, right? 1,000 meters that I have to run, and I'm in this dark place of like, oh no, I can't do it. I can't suffer for like 4 more minutes. Are you kidding me? Like just looking back at it, I'm kind of frustrated, to be completely honest. But I didn't enter into that pain cave. I was scared of the dragon that was inside of that, because even though I was capable of sticking with those guys in the front group and potentially PRing that race, because my PR for the mile, the 1,600 meter, is a 5:08. That race, I ran a 5:39 whenever I had just PR'd in the 800 previously, right? And I get it. Like, my legs were kind of cooked. I'll cut myself slack on that level. Maybe I wouldn't break 5 minutes, but I definitely could have PR'd. I know that much. Or at least got close to it, like a 5:10 or something like that. And I was just scared. I was scared of the pain cave. And like I said, scared of the dragon that was inside of the pain cave. Because this is the way I think about it. I've heard the term pain cave, but used by some people. I think it was like Nick Bear where I originally got that, like with running and whatnot. But this is the way I think of the pain cave, and just kind of the overall experience of doing difficult things. Is there's, like, you can call it the pain cave or like the difficulty cave or whatever, right? There's a darkness that you have to step into whenever you want to push yourself, right? Whether that's mental fatigue, physical fatigue, like the lactic acid buildup, your muscles are burning, something like that. Okay, there's going to be some sort of like turmoil that you have to push through, some darkness that you have to step into in order to get to the other side, because in reality it's not a cave, it's a tunnel, and the tunnel is the only path to the things you want in life, right? But the thing with that tunnel is, in the middle of it there's a big dragon that's scary and dangerous, and it's painful to overcome. And if you're too scared of it and you don't press yourself hard enough, you will not overcome the dragon, right? And that's exactly what happened to me in that mile. Was actually, let's even go further than that. I think that's what happened to me in the 800 as well. Is I didn't win that race because I didn't overcome the dragon fully. Yeah, like I got by it, but I didn't slay the dragon. It's kind of like you snuck by the dragon and you made it to the other side, and you still got a little bit of what you wanted, but you didn't get like the loot from the dragon, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what happened in the 800. But with the mile, I was just scared of the dragon. The dragon was back, right? I was too scared to face it and to try and slay it, right? Even though I had the capability to, even though I had what it took, even though the reason why I was scared is because it would be a difficult battle. But that's the thing, is it needs to be a difficult battle. It's going to be. It's like the final boss of a video game. Whenever you're going for that PR or you're going for the next level, right? It's like it's the next level or the next boss in like Dark Souls or something. It's like the next level of hard and like what was it, like pattern recognition that you have to understand to beat the boss. And so it will take you many tries, right? And just mental turmoil to beat that boss, but you can do it, right? I mean, there's like, you can do it on that first try. But anyways, what I'm trying to say with this is I should have entered into that pain cave. I should have gone in willingly and just suffered and just pushed myself and just balls to the wall, all guts race. I don't know who it was, but there's this good, I don't know if he was a marathon runner or like a 1,500 meter runner, one of those guys. But I heard this from like Cole Hawker and then Zach Bitter, ultra marathon guy. But back in the day, there was this runner guy, and every single race that he would do, he would just sprint it basically and just do a guts race, to where it's like, if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to give everything you got, right? And I want to embrace some of that mentality and embrace that pain cave, because that is where you not only get better, but it's where you win, because other people are not willing to go into that pain cave sometimes. Like, I mean, I literally wasn't, right? And I'm sure other people can do the same thing. Like, their will break at some point. And so I'm trying to embrace this of going into the pain cave as much as I can in life, embracing discomfort. I'm not perfect by any means. Like, embracing discomfort sucks. It's very hard for me to do, because, I like being comfortable. That's just how it is. Like, this morning, I've made this is a separate point, but I've kind of made a promise to myself that I'm going to like skip breakfast most days until I get something done, like a workout or like recording a podcast or whatever, right? I generally I would like to fast for most of the day, just because it gives me the extra mental challenge and kind of clarity and lightness, right? And that's just another level of discomfort that I just like for today, I just failed at. But I'm working at it. I didn't like yesterday. I succeeded at most things yesterday. I think I did a pretty good job yesterday. But today, off to a shaky start. But that's okay. It's just about kind of doing it more often than not. But what I have written down here is you need to enter into the pain cave willingly and slay the dragon, right? Like I was saying, with that 1600 meter run, the 800-meter run, I should have gone all in and just balled out. Because imagine I had just been like, you know what? I'm going to kick at the third lap and the fourth lap. I'm going to sprint the whole thing, right? I'm going to sprint the last 400 meters of that 800. Imagine how much more I would have PR'd by, right? Or even if I had just kicked it into another gear on that last 200 meters, how much more would I have PR'd? What I would have potentially even won the race, right? Or got second place. I wouldn't have got hawked down by this dude whose legs were like half a foot longer than mine each. How much more would I have PR'd by? Because I PR'd by a second, right? I could have PR'd by like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, had I just kicked heavier at the very end instead of just holding the pace. And just entered into that pain cave and just gone in balls to the wall, just like guns blazing to kill that dragon, to slay that dragon. So yeah, once you slay that dragon, you get past that tunnel, you realize that it honestly wasn't that bad and that it's freaking awesome what you've just accomplished. You can celebrate that win. You feel great. Even though your legs may hurt, even though you get this like weird cough after the run, right? Because I picked up this weird cough after that 800, bro. It was bad. And it still like keeps coming back. But you get to celebrate that. And on the other side of that cave, which is, like I said, it's actually a tunnel, you get the life that you desire. And I've written down here, the gold, the princess, and the life that you desire is on the other side, right? And it speaks for itself. The success in anything just lays on the other side of discomfort. Because comfortable, the way I see it, being comfortable is staying still. It's lying in bed. Getting uncomfortable is taking off the covers and getting out of bed. It's as simple as that. Getting out of bed in the morning is uncomfortable. Especially now in the place where I live, it's cold. It's so freaking cold in the mornings. And so like the past 2 days, dude, I've been like just sitting in bed because it's so cold and I just don't want to get out of bed. But I'm starting to realize now it's like in that discomfort is where I will get better. So yeah, that's one mental model. I've been kind of yapping about that for a while, but I think that's such an important lesson that I want to kind of iron and brand and just sear into my own brain as much as possible, because it is such an important thing for my goals right now, especially with, the mile, the 800-meter run. I need to be able to go into that pain cave and slay the dragon if I'm going to achieve my goals. That's such an important aspect for me to master and to get into. And so I've been trying to, at least this past week, trying to go a little bit harder on my workouts. Like I did this workout with deadlifts. I go to the gym 3 days a week, and one of those days I do deadlifts for like 20 reps. I slap on just 135 and I just do a ton of reps until it starts burning. And I think I'm going to go a little bit heavier this upcoming Sundays whenever I do it. And go a little bit heavier and just do like 20-ish reps and just freaking destroy my legs. Because those absolutely cook my legs, and I think that's is good for the the 800. But yeah, moving on. That was the pain cave, and probably the most important lesson that I want to embrace in my own life. The next thing that I have is singularity of focus and doing essential tasks only. To be obsessed and to have desire. To stop wasting time on other BS. To have a goal and go out and achieve it. So I find myself distracted a lot. I'll be honest. Even this morning, I found myself distracted because I had these thoughts in my mind of, oh, it's cold outside. I don't want to do an easy run because it's cold and my Achilles hurts and it'd be bad for me. Like I started coping and be like, you know what if I just had breakfast and I just sat down and I can, what if I watch this YouTube video? Like there's lots of things that come into your brain, at least in my brain, that distract me. And it's annoying. It's really annoying, especially because I have these goals, right? I'm sure everyone has, these goals. But I have the goal of getting a really good 800-meter time, at least for a high schooler, right? And I have a goal of trying to make it on YouTube, right? Record YouTube, just like, not even just that, but just like make an impact on people's life. I don't even need to be like super famous or whatever, like just like enough to where I can genuinely make an impact and change people's lives at that point. Because it's like, what else am I doing this for, man? Right? Like yeah, like fame and fortune, whatever. That's cool, but I think what's more important is just impacting people's lives, honestly, and just like trying to share what has changed my life and that sort of thing, right? Because if I just make like I've heard this what is it, aphorism, or I don't know, but it's like whenever you optimize heavy enough, you just end up with porn on the internet, basically. And it's like I don't want to do that. So at some point you're going to sacrifice success for impact, right? Because I think you get the idea, right? It's just I want to have the highest impact possible, and if that means that I'm not the most successful, whatever, that's fine. It's like if I can just genuinely change someone's life, then that's a win. I can basically like retire there and be like, okay, we're good. Or maybe 2, so it's like a net positive. There we go. It's a net positive. If I can get at least 2, I would obviously like to impact more, but yeah. That's anyways. I found myself distracted a lot from pursuing these goals, if that makes sense. And so what I'm trying to embrace now is this kind of mental model of success by subtraction. So just kind of reducing the fluff of my day with, of watching YouTube videos that maybe I don't need to do, or I think that's the majority of it, is just kind of wasting time doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing. Like eating food for no reason, kind of listening, just kind of like mindlessly listening to podcasts, not being intentional about the content that I consume, not reading enough, that sort of thing. I think the biggest thing is just kind of like sitting around and like watching YouTube videos that, sure, they can be like helpful and kind of inspirational, but I know that I'm just kind of wasting my time and I'm not actually learning anything. I'm not actually applying anything. And so what I'm trying to do now is get to a point to where I'm removing that stuff and just maximizing the amount that I'm doing stuff that will move the needle in my life, right? So there's only so much like track and workout stuff that I can do, but I know that I can do stuff like study game tape. Like I can study the races that I do. I can study the races that professionals do and see how they run and how they position themselves. I can study just how to train better, how to perform on race day, the things that I can test out to, remove injury, that I can prevent injury or heal from an injury faster, that sort of thing. Like recently for my Achilles, I've been trying to do isometrics, and I think they've been really helping, honestly, even though I only started them like 3 days ago. But it's like things like that I can really lock in on that will genuinely move the needle for me and help me from moving the needle backwards in the case of like injury. And so essential tasks like that, and then getting better at speaking, at articulating. Some things that I'll do is like I'll read a book aloud and just try and get the enunciations correctly, the timing of my speech to flow correctly in the way that the author kind of wrote it, and I'll do it my own way as well, so that I can better articulate myself and just kind of do like thought to brain, or not thought to brain, thought to mouth quicker. Because I mean, the way I read anyways is I read a word, I kind of say it out loud in my brain as like a thought basically, and then I can speak it out. So it's kind of training that system almost of being able to read a word and then speak it out loud. Like I can basically right now visualize a word on a page, and it's actually helping me speak a lot better. Well, maybe not perfectly, but it's things like that that kind of train the system that make my speech a little bit better. I think that's about it though for the essential tasks and singularity of focus. It's just you need to be focused on what you're trying to achieve and cut out all the other stuff. Like I'm not worried, like right now, I'm not worried about whatever so-and-so is doing. I'm not worried about, meeting up with friends unless it's to train. I'm not worried about, like what what this person is saying or that person is saying. I'm worried about how I can get better at training and how I can get better at speaking and communicating a beneficial message. That's about it, right? And recovery and that sort of thing. And just life in general, how to think, reading books, focus. Those sorts of tasks are what's essential in my life. It's not going out, not wasting my time, staying up late. It's about discipline right now. Being obsessed, singularity of focus. I think that's what's important. And trying to worry less about stuff that doesn't have to do with your goals, right? Like aesthetics, as much as I want to have like super jacked like arms and be like buff, broad-shouldered guy, that's cool. And I can still train those things a little bit, but if it doesn't get me closer to my goal of the 800-meter run, then I'm not doing it. Yes, I'll still do some upper body stuff because you need to have like some level of upper body strength, but I train it like twice a week. I do pull-ups and then I do bench press or push-ups. That's all I do. Like I don't do any sort of like cute tricep extensions or freaking like lateral raises. I don't do that because it's not useful. I have like 3 movements that train upper body. I do like these dumbbell thrusters. It's kind of a weird exercise because your shoulders burn out so fast. And so that trains my shoulders. And then I have pull-ups for my back and biceps and whatnot. And then I have bench press for my chest and triceps. That's about it. Those are the 3 movements that I do, right, for upper body. Everything else is lower body or core focused. And I do like 3 days a week of like 7 different exercises each. And like so half of my exercises are literally all leg exercises, whether it's calf raises, hamstring curls, squats, etc., etc. Right? Like that's literally half of my weight training regime. The other half is core and then upper body. That's nuts. Training legs so much, dude. I'm a leg training fiend, bro. But that's what you need. That's what I believe I genuinely need for achieving the goals. Singularity of focus. Not trying to be a bodybuilder and an 800-meter runner at the same time. It's locking in. Not having split priorities. It's my active workout time is for 800-meter, and whenever I'm recovering, I'll work on YouTube. That's basically it. That's the plan. Whenever I'm recovering, I'll work on YouTube and watch the 800-meter. But yeah. The last mental model that I want to share with you, and I said this in the last podcast, but it's to keep promises to myself to build evidence. So this is something that, again, I've been struggling with sort of recently. I mean, it's a constant battle, honestly, to keep promises to yourself until you get good at it, I guess. But keeping promises to myself is just the thing that I want to be able to do. Because if I can build that theory, it doesn't even need to be innate confidence. It's just an understanding that I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. Because right now I'm kind of 60-40 on if I actually am going to do what I say I'm going to do right now. And I want to be that, and I want to change that to a 99-1, right? And that 1% is, some whack occurrence happens that I'm not able to, come through on what I say. And so just making these make promises to myself and keeping them is something that I'm really trying to embrace, and I think that a lot of people would benefit from embracing, because I do it to myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people do it. They say they're going to do one thing, and then they don't do it, and then they don't do it, and then they don't do it, and suddenly the day is over, and they're like, crap, I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do. Oh well. Right? But that undermines your trust in yourself. It undermines my trust in myself. It's okay, I didn't say I'm going to do this thing, so am I actually going to do the next thing that I'm saying I'm going to do, even though it's more important, right? I said yesterday that today I'm not going to eat breakfast. I'm going to wait until 1 or 2 o'clock to even consider eating, and there I was at 7 o'clock in the morning, chowing down on some eggs. It's not like I cheated on my diet or anything like that. It's just I ate earlier than I said I was going to, which just isn't good, And I also said that I would batch record, this podcast and a couple of other videos for my YouTube channel, and I'm just now starting it. I've been this is the first one that I'm doing right now. So yeah, kind of not following the plan. I'm bringing it back now, though. Kind of bringing it back, but yeah, that's just it's not a good feeling whenever you basically lie to yourself, because you just kind of get frustrated, and you're like, dude, why are you lying to yourself? Why aren't you doing what you said you're going to? And it's the dumbest reasons, oh, but it's cold outside. I don't want to go. I don't want to run. I was like this morning, dude, it's cold outside. I don't want to do a easy run. My Achilles hurts. Oh no, yeah, my Achilles hurts. Okay, just run a mile. It doesn't even need to be anything crazy, right? Get something in. It doesn't. I have written down, it can change in specific circumstances, but still do what you said you're going to do. Still show up for it, right? You said you're going to go to the gym today. Just go to the gym and just lift a dumbbell once. Once you go there, you're probably going to be okay, well, whatever. I'm just going to do my workout now, even though I don't want to, because I'm here anyways. Just show up for it, right? That's literally half the battle of just getting there, right? And maybe you half-ass it. Okay, whatever. Right? But you said you're going to work out today, and you worked out today. So you can trust yourself then. At least a little bit more. Maybe you can't trust yourself to go hard in the workout, but you can trust yourself enough to where it's okay, I'm still going to show up. and that leaches into other areas of life. You can keep your promises more, and it's just like this upward spiral. And it gives you reassurance and gives you evidence, subconsciously and consciously, that you can do the next thing, that you can do the next thing that you say you're going to do, right? And this is why I'm trying to embrace it in my own life, because if I say I'm going to wake up and do an easy run at 6:30 in the morning, but I don't do it, how is that going to give me evidence that I can run a sub 2 minute 800 whenever the time calls for it, 5 months down the line from now? How am I going to trust myself then if I can't do the simple thing now of just waking up and running a mile, even though I'm injured, right? Like it's the small things like that that add up, and I genuinely think that that's going to be the difference on if I make it or not. Is if I if I keep coping and I keep lying to myself, or I just start to keep my promises as much as I can anyways, and I just do it. I disregard my emotions. I disregard how I feel. Because like those are the evil things, bro. Freaking how you feel. And like this goes along with the pain cave thing. How you feel is such a terrible way to go about life. And like I'm starting to realize that now, is like going with how you feel is a terrible way of thinking about stuff. Like I get it, if you're an athlete and you're injured, fine, okay? Maybe you should go off field a little bit in terms of like fatigue and how hard you should go. But that doesn't mean you should skip the workout, right? You can still change up the workout, right? If you're like genuinely fatigued, if you're genuinely injured, okay, change something out, but still show up for it, right? Like this morning, I skipped my easy run, right? Like after I'm done recording, I'm going to at least walk on the treadmill. I'm going to do something, because I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. Even if it's not a run, it's going to be like an incline walk, so I can get my heart rate up. And I'm gonna keep wearing what I'm wearing now, so I can get like sweaty and hot. Because that's what it takes. Is you just need to do what you said you're going to do in some capacity. In some capacity. Right? Even if it's not to your full capacity, just showing up, just doing it. Because the way I see it is, not a lot of other people are going to be doing that, right? They're going to, like, there's so many people out there that are going to wake up and they're going to be like, oh, it's too cold outside, I don't want to do it. And so that's like the first filter, right? The next filter is that there's going to be people who wake up and do it anyways, okay? But the third filter is they do it anyways, and they do it as hard as they can, right? And I'm not saying that you need to go as hard as you can, because again, you could mess yourself up, especially if you're like injured or something, right? I'm not saying you need to do like a crazy, squat PR if your knee is injured or something like that. I'm just saying that you at least need to get past the first freaking filter, because that's where 90% of people fail, right? 95% of people. If you can get past that, you're doing good. Obviously, like, you should try and aim higher, but if you can get past that first filter, you're good, right? Life will be better. And then once you are better, you can wake up regardless of that and go as hard as you can. So you don't need to be perfect. It's just you need to keep your promises and at least show up for those things. And that's what I'm trying to emulate in my own life. Because again, I'm not perfect at that. Like this today is a perfect example of how I'm not perfect. But I'm trying to make it better. And I think that's all you can do, honestly, is just try and do better than yesterday. Do better than the last time that you messed up like this. So yeah. That's all I got for the mental models. It's actually a lot longer than I expected it to be, but there was a lot of I think helpful stuff that I learned by trying to go through these. So yeah. I'm terrible I'm not the greatest at wrapping up these videos, am I? But I will get better as time goes on. But those were the 3 mental models that I'm embracing to improve my life. And so yeah, I think you should try and apply them as much as you can. Enter the pain cave, have a singularity of focus, and keep promises to yourself. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you want to support me, just subscribe and share it. Just do all that stuff. If you're on Spotify, follow, give it like a 5-star rating. That'd be pretty sick. But yeah, thank you. I will see you in the next one.